I'm eating crisps. And I'm angry. I've just got an email. I'm eating crisps. I'm eating crisps. I thought I'd just repeat that. That was a very interesting live. And you know what the funny thing is you can see how, like, someone who's better at it, like Lona Box, or that opinionator girl's horrible because she's very stupid, but at least Lona Box is, like, capable of, like, you know, actually has bothered to do some thinking and is capable of some kind of critical thought to some extent, maybe once upon a time. But, yeah, I mean, that one was at least interesting, or like more of a learning opportunity. yeah. It was telling me I'm not allowed to visit for eating crisps. I'm eating hula hoops. What a treat. No, my TikTok lives aren't uploaded anywhere. I got banned. And the funny thing is I got banned for hate speech. And what constituted hate speech was saying, I don't like Israel or the IDF. That's literally all I got banned for. I can tell you this thing. I'm eating crisps, look. Let a man eat his crisps. I should have known. I've actually been banned for that so many times. I've literally been banned for doing that exact bit 3 or 4 times, I think. And I get banned for a week. I've got a second account, which I know you're telling me I will get better at this. It's just because I've been sick and I sort of have, like, another job. And, my other job is, like, doing fuck all most of the time, but sometimes I have to do a lot. And I was, like, reading for, like, 4 hours today. And then before I knew it, the time's gone and I need to prep for stream. And, yeah. You should be banned for calling them crisps. No? I'm going to react to something and just leave my chair. Wait, what racist, sexist guy? Sorry, there we go. Right. They were very crispy. Nice crisps. The first time I've ever eaten on stream. I should probably come up with a better title than quick live stream, but actually, you know what? I will. What's happened? Oh shit! There's some news. I guess I kind of wanted to use this as an opportunity to do. I wanted to turn this into a learning opportunity for me. I want to learn what the fuck is going on with those, like, white nationalists. Have any of you seen that like killed a fireman? So there are actually some... Sorry, this is a bit of a distracted live stream. Go buy a bag of chips. Bro, I don't need a bag of chips, my guy. I want some burgers. No. There's a different one. Oh, yeah. Did I accidentally play some Ethan Klein? Did I? I'm going to make a video about Ethan Klein. I'm going to do a final closeout to the saga, because someone called me out on Reddit, which I'm not sure was particularly fair. And I think many of you will agree with my reason of saying why this isn't fair. Because basically, someone said, oh, Chris Kunzler's spoken so much and yet hasn't spoken about Casey Tron, Frogan and stuff's lawsuits. They did it on the Leftovers H3. A good place for me. Here you go, right. I'm sure one of you was defending me. I'm disappointed in Bad Empanada, Chris Kunzler, Noah. Like, these dudes have been milking the H3 thing. I am not so sure that I, like, should fall into this category, because I've been sick and away, and, like, people have other things going on. Bad Empanada's made multiple videos about it, but yeah. I don't have a Reddit page, and I don't need one, but... yeah, and I would... if I only had a drama video like, oh my god, I can't believe Ethan is suing these people. But as I was writing, I sometimes get a feeling of like, oh, here might be something worth saying. And I saw this video of Asmund Gold going like, oh man, it's gonna be the new Amber Heard. It's gonna be the new Amber Heard. Oh, it's gonna be the best entertainment. Now I've lost what I was looking for. How do you even spell Amber Heard? I don't know. Oh, fuck's sake, I should get these clips lined up. I'm not going to be able to find it anyway. Why? Yeah, hold on. Get your bag. Who really cares? Yeah, I mean, but I still think I should probably talk about it because there's something worth saying about this anyway. Which is, Asmund Gold was like talking about how,
yeah, it's for it.
Hold on. Oh, my microphone is trapped in my chair. Alas, this evil cage and prison. Curse these infernal things. Sorry, it's just posting about furries. I got furry videos on two screens instead, 3 screens.
The biggest modern problems that we have is
Jesus Christ. Like
basically like people's performative empathy ends up creating problems for other people instead of the people that they're being empathetic towards. So they're basically trying to make themselves feel good by helping one group of people. Probably one of the basically like people's performative empathy ends up creating problems for other people in your country first. And so by that, I view it as like helping one group of people, but trying to make themselves feel good by helping one group of people, but in the process of that, they're hurting another group of people instead. So I view it as like concentric circles. And so
what is this? Like, what is this stuff? Why do you refer to the IDF as IOF? Because it's a term used predominantly by Palestinians and supporters of the Palestinian cause. People tend to refer to it as the IOF because the IDF implies that it is a defensive organization, the Israeli Defensive Force, when Israel has waged multiple wars of aggression, and it has long maintained this narrative that they're constantly attacked, but yeah.
Obviously, it's good to have empathy for everyone, but you
Occupation Offense Force
should prioritize people in your country first. And so whenever you make a decision based off of
this is just a very, very weird comment.
Those concentric circles that we all
I'm not a furry, I was joking.
know to be true. Like, you know, you'd be more likely to make a decision in the best interest of your parent more than maybe a friend, you know, you would hope, right? And more in the interest of a friend than an acquaintance, and more in the interest of an acquaintance than a stranger. And so all of this exists in kind of a logic, there's like a logical...
I am not watching this. What is he saying? Like, who says this shit? I just wanted to find him talking about...
This is the same girl that said I killed my mother. The amount of sympathy... I didn't really realize it.
Little fire is going like she.
Okay, right. I'm gonna leave that, but I was trying to explain. No. We call it the IOF because that's a more apt term. It's not to get around censors. As you've noticed, I don't really I sometimes don't say genocide always on TikTok, and the only reason I don't do that is because I think that is a very limiting factor, and I'm like, Israel's committing heinous war crimes constantly, but yeah. Let me see if I can actually find this, because I think this Asmund Gold video is worth watching, because I think it's quite worth talking about. It's on my favorite Reddit ever, Leftovers H3. I love browsing Leftovers H3 every day. It's all I do. It's my job. Let me see if I can fucking find this. Jesus Christ. I just feel like my whole life has been reduced to just scrolling through fucking things that I've seen earlier in the day that I could have noted down. Here we go. I found it.
I love this, man. This is one of my favorite things to see happen. This is absolutely fucking amazing. I am so happy to see this. Oh my fucking god. This is the best content influence since Step vs. Third. It will be if it goes to trial. Okay?
I'm getting sued and what for making a joke saying I like browse it every day. I don't think the UK has as easy a place to just constantly sue people. But who knows? If Ethan Klein really wants to harass me and target me for what? I didn't even watch the content nuke, so maybe I should do a fundraiser and just watch the content nuke.
If it goes to trial, that's it. Legal Mindset's not a real lawyer. Ice Poseidon paid someone to investigate him. He wanted the states for credit.
But just listen to this. He's saying that this will be entertainment. Like, I'm no expert on the Amber Heard shit, but Johnny Depp was like best friends with Marilyn Manson, wasn't he? And Marilyn Manson is like a known rapist of women, isn't he? That those two were friends, that Johnny Depp said some very problematic things, and I'm going to read into this. But it's kind of this thing of just watching a woman's life being laid bare, and you just sort of celebrating it and being like, oh, this is so good, I love watching this, I love watching people suffer and be miserable. It's really sad, isn't it? And this is just who enjoys Ethan's content now. Tectone, who were cried because not because he found out his dad was a rapist. Apparently he seemed to know that anyway, but he cried because he said, I'll no longer be able to have him on stream.
Card fraud. He's hiding in Thailand, so he's not a real lawyer. Okay, well then that doesn't that has nothing to do with what.
I'm no lawyer, but I do believe if you've posted that you're doing this to like harm other people, that you're doing this to target them, to like just that you're not doing this to people who you like because you are happy with them doing whatever with your content, that's weird. That's not like a good case, is it? Like, surely that doesn't form the basis of a good legal case. And also, by the way, it's just a very dangerous precedent in that, like, you know, looking at basically, like watching other people's content becomes scarier, and you encourage people like having genuine reactions, fostering discussions around people's content, and whatever those discussions may be, there's always space to do this kind of stuff, you know. And there should be, but you know, it's not what a lot of people want. A lot of people want just this stupidest point. But the whole point is not I don't know enough about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case. I read about it, but I think it's also just this sad enjoyment that these people get. Like, I just saw Hassan saying this guy lives in shit and piss, but like, yeah, he does, but he also clearly likes getting money and having loads of money, and you know, he might spend it on nothing, but he's like a vile individual. This guy makes jokes about going and rounding people up he lives in this heinous situation. He's disconnected from society. He sits all day on his own streaming. It's no wonder you end up being like a bitter, sort of odd person when maybe, I don't know how many, like if you're not friendly with a lot of people growing up, if then you get old in your job, you don't go to an office, you spend all of your time becoming warped on your own. It's just sad, and it's just, like, really sad. He says he wants to dress up as Ash Ketchum and go and, like, catch migrants who've come to the country. Like, they came to your country because their countries were destroyed and destitute because of a result of your policies, the economic world that Western imperialism set up, the world in which there is just no economic opportunity in so many different places. And you kind of sit here and you think, Ethan, this is who you're friends with now. You have no principles, no morals. Your money has hollowed you out. It has made you feel invincible to the point where you feel that you can do anything to other people. It's just sad and sick, and I think that that's worth talking about. Like, I wasn't so interested. I kind of thought maybe I wouldn't, but it is worth talking about, I think. They are doing this specifically because they want it to be the case where, oh, holy shit. Wow. Sorry, I'll talk about this in a second. It's quite, So we got 3 topics now. Firefighters attacked in the US, which you're going to have to watch me learn about live. But yeah, I felt like a Nazi. It looked exactly like we were actually the Nazis. And yeah, I've seen that. It's a true statement. People making those kind of comparisons have been there for a while. But like, just look at this. They have no fun in their own personal lives. Ethan has like a wife and children who love him. But yet he spends his time harassing and suing people. He referred to like threatening Sean DeBlack as a little trolling. How is that fucking funny? Like, that's only funny to someone with millions of dollars who does absolutely no work because he employs a team to do all of the work for him. And yeah, oh no. My Tower of Zins is gone. I don't know where it's gone. Oh no, that's sad. That's the Klein curse. His Zionism is so wrapped up in drama, it's impossible to separate them. I mean, indeed, like, it's just sad. Wives who loves him, allegedly. Yeah. Thank you for your support as always, Territory.
What I said, like you're making, like, what does that have to do with anything? Let's say he is a credit card fraudster that's hiding in Thailand and
Thailand. He's living in Thailand. Bro really likes legs.
Thailand, and you know he doesn't have a legal degree. I still think he's right about this, and I think he understands law, even if he's not a lawyer. So it's like you're arguing something.
I have no conception of law, and nor do I pretend to. Well, no conception. Like, I don't give... Like, honestly, I'll tell you what. My main understanding of this case is rich people have a lot of money and they can bully other people through lawfare, and it's despicable, and Ethan allegedly stood against that. That was like... And I think people make this mistake of being like, you know, oh, that was like one of Ethan's key principles of saying, like, you know... I won this case, I'm such a good guy, you know, I care so much about this stuff. And it's just shit, it's just horse shit, isn't it? I'm a citizen of Thailand, yeah.
Thing that doesn't even really...
Yeah, I need to see some likes. We need to get those likes, the MF like button up.
Matter, right? Thailand? Yeah, I wish. And
why did he say Thailand? It's quite a weird thing. And I mean, also, look at this. I've seen people talking about this.
I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know why I went this far. It got a little bit awkward.
Do you think that
okay.
the settlement for Ethan Klein's lawsuit should be that Frogan and Denims have to switch wardrobes for 6 months?
I think the settlement, if he does one, it will be, first off, it will absolutely 100.
It's just really, really, really just sick. And this is just who your allies become at this point. And it's like, feel however you want about Hassan. Ethan, in fact, went on a campaign of calling like Hassan a misogynist and anti-Semite and all of these things.
Open it.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's just utterly ridiculous, you know.
Our IP to the world.
And it's also, I mean, it's also quite frivolous because I've seen this.
This is a message with peace and love. So, if you want to cut up clips from the podcast, from our members live, from anything with me in it, go for it, man. Monetize it. I will not claim.
Just every belief that this man has ever had is just down the drain, and he's just sad. No, I'll talk about this. I've just seen Noah Colwyn. I'll give you a bit of a thing. Reuters' investigation has pieced together how the massacres unfolded and identifying a chain of command leading from the attackers directly to men who serve alongside Syria's new leaders in Damascus. Found nearly 1,500 Syrian Alawites were killed or missing. It's very sadistic, but I guess I was foolish to believe that there was any. I thought that, you know, that a new Syrian government would not be, you know, I just didn't know enough about Syria, but I know enough about the Middle East to have not been a fool, but I fell for it. You fell for it again.
I will not remove. I will not do anything. I mean, to be fair, it's basically been my policy.
Hold on. But just look at this point, man. You've succeeded at capitalism. You do no work. You own millions of dollars. You live in like a mansion. You have everything you could possibly want, and yet you're just miserable. It's so sad, isn't it? Like, he does nothing all day apart from tweet about fucking Hassan, and he doesn't even have Twitter. He just posts Instagram stories. Bro can't even use the right platform for the right thing. He's so lazy.
See, I don't claim.
You don't know what you are talking about. What don't I know what I'm talking about?
But acting like it was a well thought out comment.
I thought that you worked for the ADL.
I've not spoken to the ADL.
I would have said you worked for the ADL.
Hassan's thinking he's Jewish and criticizes me. Must be working with the ADL. He's
Lonerbox also did this with me. He said that I was saying that Jewish people control media, which is just not true, but I do have a staunch belief that Israel has a key influence over our media because it's... Well, actually, you know what? I've said this increasingly. A lot of people make this perception that, like, Israel is the only country that influences our media. Places, and also our politics, places like the UAE influence our country constantly. Israel influences our country, but so do the UAE. The UAE got the David Cameron government to review the status of the Muslim Brotherhood as a terror organization, which was utterly frivolous and ridiculous, but yeah.
He's not done either, and you have no evidence. He's just lying to slander Ethan's character, and when pressed to find an example, he says the dumbest thing.
It got nothing to do with the ADL. Blame Frogan for doing a racist fucking panel at TwitchCon that became a viral story, independent of me.
Panel, Ethan.
It wasn't racist, by the way. I 100% stand by that.
Just like cracker is not an anti-white term.
Okay,
Cracker is an anti-white term. So did Hassan think he was yelling about brown people all those...
But also, and I mean, I don't often talk about this because, you know, I'm not a minority myself, but one thing I will say is, like, interpersonal racism, interpersonal bigotry, interpersonal, like, rudeness and suffering and, rudeness and all of these things are bad, and we should work towards, like, not alienating people and making them feel bad about themselves for things they can't change. But at the same time, what really matters, and what a lot of literature and critical theory about the black experience, the colonized experience is really about, is addressing a structural relationship where people who live in certain situations are, you know, basically denigrated to live heinous lives, to work their fingers to the bone until they die, to make clothes for the people who live in what we call the first world, or I guess people prefer that term, or the metropole would be another thing. And working to address that and the suffering of people is more important than interpersonal stuff. And that's why saying something like this, I don't know if you're allowed to say, I think you are allowed to say it on YouTube, who knows? I won't say it anyway. But saying something like this, who cares? Like, I've not suffered on the basis of my, my whiteness. Like, if anything, it's been a privilege in both my short-lived career on social media and also in an academic field and also in my personal life. Like, I don't want to describe it as a blessing because I think it's a curse for many people in the sense that they're so willing to close their eyes to the suffering of others around them. And I don't think that that's something that you should celebrate or say is, hey, that's fucking awesome. But of course, it's a privilege in many other ways.
Those times he was saying cracker, it makes...
I thought you would say that cracker isn't racist, but it is anti-white, isn't it? Like, it's... what? Is he going to say that you can call them, like, it's okay for people in Africa to call them...
Oh, of course, and that's why it should be addressed, of course. But also on a structural level, I would say that that's always what this is more aimed at, whereas I wouldn't say that, like, talking about crackers, like, white people aren't killed on the basis of it, you know?
To call Arabs crackers because they used to own slaves. Like,
those clips come off a little different.
Did I say, oh my God, saltine cracker? Like, people are just bitter because it's saltine cracker. That's not what I said. You dumb cracker bitch. This person has literally never been around black people. Here's a person who does not have a single black or brown friend.
I want you to remember that Ethan and Hassan don't disagree on...
I mean, advocating for anti-colonialism doesn't impact me. People can't really find a way to insult me. What can they say? I'm ugly. I don't care. What can they say? I'm overweight. I don't care. You can say many things about me. I'm not going to care. I went to an all-boys school where people were horrible to each other constantly. So, like, these things just kind of bounce off me. I don't really think I'm targeted for it.
Much. And when Ethan confronts Hassan with this reality, he essentially says, I just don't like that you criticize me.
Because I thought that you were a lot more open-minded until...
What have we disagreed on? What have we disagreed on? I'm sorry, what am I not open?
Lonerbox reacts to Ethan Klein just ended Hassan's career. How's Hassan doing, by the way? Is his career over?
Minded about. What have we disagreed on, Hassan, other than me criticizing you and your friends?
Anti-white is like great replacement shite. No, it's fucking not. What? To say that cracker is anti-white? Of course it is. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You use cracker against... It's an attack against... whiteness, like
I'm also not so sure that it's an attack against whiteness. Jesus Christ.
What? Doesn't mean you hate all white people, but you call someone a cracker, you're usually targeting them for being white. That's the specificity of cracker. It's a white slur.
It's just really odd, isn't it, that this is kind of like the world that he lives in. I guess when your audience is just Israelis and people who are white supremacists. I guess this is kind of like a, you know, quite an easy world to live in, basically. But, you know, just say whatever people want to hear. But yeah, I don't know. What the hell is whiteness? I think there's a very simple answer what whiteness is. Right, let's learn about Idaho. Let's see if there's people who've made TikToks about it so I don't have to do anything because I am incredibly lazy.
We have an update now on the shooting in Idaho on those firefighters in which
2 US firefighters in
Okay, right, here we go.
Idaho have been killed after a man intentionally started a fire and began shooting at them when they came to help. Authorities say it was a total ambush, which lasted several hours, with the gunman using a high-powered sporting rifle to fire rapidly. A third firefighter was wounded at the scene on Sunday afternoon and was fighting for his life, but is in stable condition. Police say the gunman acted alone, and firefighters received the first report of a fire on Canfield Mountain at around 1:21 in the afternoon, local time. Just about 40 minutes later, there were reports that firefighters were being shot at. More than 300 officers from the city, county...
Do you think that they're going to say that this guy was like an Iranian terrorist or something? I bet that was what, I bet that there was some tweets about this. Yeah, there is. Some white nationalist. 3 shooters is not confirmed. I've heard reports of sniper use, but highly unconfirmed. Seems to be 9 firefighters shot and 2 cops in Idaho. This is officially big enough to be an Iranian sleeper cell. False flag, and then we're off to... Oh, no. Okay. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have shown that guy, but I thought he was saying otherwise, so...
County, state and federal levels responded to the shooting, including 2 helicopters with snipers on board. After an hour-long barrage of gunfire, a SWAT team located a deceased male close to where the attack took place. It was unclear
Shout out Josh Drake.
Whether the suspect killed himself or was hit by an officer, Sheriff Bob Norris said.
Well, so this is seemingly an interesting story.
we have an update now on the
I don't want to watch this guy, he seems annoying. So someone has just ambushed some guy. So apparently his parents are fans of MAGA, but who knows if that's actually true. Idaho shooter's mum, Wes Rowley's mum, Heather, and stepdad Tony. I don't know what was going on with Wes, but I do know these Arizona are socialism for me, not for these hypocrites. Oh my god! Right, I mean the people posting about this are, what is this? I mean, is there just no information about this then? Really unusual story. Really unusual story. Use your arm because this is what they'll do. I mean, yeah. Hold on. Firefighters, Idaho. I accidentally searched Iran. I wonder what, like, has motivated this person to shoot some people, but I don't think there's enough to actually go and talk about this yet. It seemed like I saw some people saying that this guy was a white nationalist, but yeah. Oh, wow, actually, yeah. Today's the anniversary of Aryan Inferno, when firefighters burned down the Aryan Nation's security house as a training exercise. Following the definition, activist Greg Carr built the Human Rights Education Institute on the ground of a neo-Nazi compound. Who was it again that made their base of operations for the past handful of decades? Mad. Medial scumfucks. Unrelated, but recall how 31... Wow, so this was the thread I saw. I knew I'd seen something about it. Coeur d'Alene, hate group, arrests extend North Idaho's long history with extremism. North Idaho was pushed to the forefront of the nation's attention when 31 members of a white nationalist group were arrested in Coeur d'Alene. Members of the Patriot Front, a group of Southern Poverty Law Center has described as a white nationalist hate group, were arrested downtown near a Pride in the Park event when police pulled over a U-Haul truck and found the members inside with riot gear and at least 1 smoke grenade. In the aftermath of the arrest, Coeur Mayor referenced the city's history with hate groups and extremism, particularly a neo-Nazi compound that existed in Hayden Lake, a suburb just north of Coeur d'Alene. Hammond also said that Coeur d'Alene had become a place that respects and welcomes everyone.
Okay, my name is Robert Norris. I am the...
Is this only playing in one ear for you
Sheriff
guys?
of Cooney County. This information is...
Aryan nation dregs, this person is claiming, or federal... 2 have been shot by this suspect. 1 was a deputy. There is currently a massive law enforcement response and active search underway. Crazy. Crazy. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Right-wing extremists are always up to crazy shit and they just get away with it because, you know, they're right-wing extremists. Like, the UK does the exact same thing. The UK just lets people get away with shit if you're a right-winger engaging in, like, terror attacks, basically. The guy who killed Joe Cox, who was a British MP, screamed out Britain first and it's still not banned. But do you remember the big meal and the song and dance that was made out of the guy chanting Free Palestine? Before shooting 2 Israeli diplomats. Like, you know. I'm just seeing if there's any other news. But who fucking knows? I've seen a lot of people commenting on this, but he does speak Farsi. Man yek kami Farsi sohbat mikonam hiç Arabi bale. God, my nose is plugged. Well, this person said that the neo-Nazis had their thing burned down by my favourite account, Hez Bolsonaro, Liam. This guy's got quite a good account. I've always liked him. But yeah, he was talking about how the anniversary of the Aryan Inferno when firefighters burned down the Aryan Nation security house. So this could be why? Who knows? Farsi is Indo-European, yes. Joe nuts. Austria too. Kind of the police are really friendly with right-wingers. I mean, the police are always friendly with right-wingers. We have like a massive right-wing growth in the UK. We had fucking race riots in the UK last summer. Like literal riots where people were targeting Muslims on the basis of their identity. And yet we hear over and over again how Jewish people are under threat, but yet it is the only people who were attacked in a mob style violence were Muslims, because that's just okay in the society we get. Salam Chris, wie geht es dir? Mir geht's gut, danke. How many languages do you speak? I don't speak good enough German or Farsi to even say, so I only really speak English. I can just kind of like vaguely understand both, especially German now. If there are like, I know this sounds ridiculous. Well, actually, no, it doesn't sound ridiculous, because if I hear French and there are subtitles, like, I'm not actually going to be like, oh yeah, I can piece this together. But if there are subtitles under German, like, I can understand what they're saying, like, perfectly, in that, like, it's not just because there are subtitles. I, like, understand the German predominantly most of the time. But, like, I'd need that now. Whereas once upon a time, I could, like, read German pretty well. I read Die Verwandlung, which is Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka in German, but with an English copy side by side to, like, check some of the more complex language. Like, how it opens is really confusing in German, because it's obviously talking about this. Yeah, there were riots in Ballymena in Northern Ireland. There are articles all about this, and like here you go, here's Channel 4 talking about it.
For a second night running on Friday,
to be honest, I think we'll probably get them again this summer in the UK.
Young men from the Loyalist community.
Was ist dein Lieblingsfach? Lieblingsfach, Lieblingsfach. Was ist dein Lieblingsfach? Kunst oder was?
Community in Portadown on the streets.
It's really funny as well, because no matter the divide, people say that like immigrants don't like integrate into British society, but when there was a riot in Hare Hills, Leeds amongst a specific community last year, they did pretty similar things in that they like set a fire and set things, like just threw things on a fire.
Fireworks, masonry, petrol bombs, all hurled at police.
Like, why is that a key part of rioting, where you just throw things in a pile and just set it on fire?
Lines.
Because it's not like it's even being done with a specific thing of, like, you know, trying to obscure vision. It's just doing it.
Police are talking of coordination in Portadown, that had observed people associated with paramilitary groups near the protests. So the police have withdrawn about 50 metres from their original front line. They are being relatively tolerant of the stuff that's being thrown at them unless people approach very close, in which case they do occasionally intervene. The general plan seems to be to try to de-escalate, to allow this protest to blow itself out.
No, Israel didn't incite race riots. Israel doesn't have to incite race riots. Israel just has race riots because they're an incredibly racist society. In the same way that the UK are just symptomatic of the society that we live in.
For now, there's no sign that the protesters are ready to leave just yet. And indeed, shortly before midnight, the decision taken to disperse the demonstrators.
Like, it's really funny because if Muslims were burning stuff over Palestine, you know that they'd say deport them all, that this would be front page news, but it was kind of just ignored. In the UK.
Repeated forward surges, breaking up the crowd over the next 40 minutes. This explosion of violence began here in Ballymena on Monday. Riots initially targeting Roma households, spreading quickly to others.
Like, listen to this, targeting Roma households. It's kind of mad to hear, isn't it? Like, racially motivated riots.
The two teenagers appeared in court on charges of attempted rape.
Oh, down the next one, sorry, my bad. And then you
Community worker Demi Laverty grew up in Ballymena. She's saddened by what's happened this week, angry that the issue of violence against women and girls has been overshadowed.
The rage almost get targeted at that community. Now, that would be obviously generalisation and stereotyping, which are fallout of socioeconomic disadvantage and deprivation.
I mean, yeah, it is just a point. Like, the vast majority of areas where you had the worst riots were always going to be in areas with socioeconomic deprivation. Because, like, people are suffering, you know?
And for you to have 8,000 people...
You look for someone to blame.
...on your live stream and them not actually, you not then talk about that this was actually a march to end violence against women and children, that potentially then would have led you to...
And the same thing is brewing in the UK, by the way. The same kind of shit brews in the UK. There's the exact same shit of, like, people being... I'm actually going to change the title quickly. Bob Vylan, cancel culture. The same thing is brewing in the UK. There's all these people who are like, we need the national inquiry into grooming gangs. It's like, yeah, fair enough. Like, grooming gangs are a terrible thing. But it's also, as I've spoken about before, it's much more of an example of, like, young women being ignored and basically marginalised because there are people who are still making money, you know?
Believe that this was an anti-immigration protest.
Like Demi, Jake comes from
Israelis in Ulster before GTA 6. I don't think you can blame Israelis for this.
A mixed Catholic Protestant family. He was out live streaming some of the protests. He disavowed.
This is also a really weird genre of things, like people who just go TikTok live protests, like this. Riots.
How's the violence, but sympathises with an anti-immigration cause he says has unified people across sectarian divides.
It's not that they want all immigrants out, no, that's not necessarily the case. It's just that for examples of the ones that do come in and do, you know, these horrible, atrocious things, they want their women and children of the country to be safe.
There are all sorts of people who feel now threatened.
But also, like, just the UK is filled with plenty of people who don't make women and children safe. And, like, if you think about it, really, if you're so obsessed with child suffering, surely you'd be focusing more on, like, starving, the fact that many kids are not accessing good educations. But, you know, it's just, yeah, it's protecting against them as immigrants. I mean, it's a telling the fact that they only care about protecting women when they can use it as a cudgel against immigrants. I mean, indeed. It's almost like there's a group that the law protects but does not bind, and another group that the law binds but does not protect. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Marcus Nelson. Sectarianism cured, yeah. Being anti-immigrant is uniting Protestants and Catholics. I mean, probably hatred for Jewish people once upon a time united Protestants and Catholics.
By what's been going on.
And also, like, never make the mistake that this was said about Jewish people. This was what was has long been said about Jewish people, that they would attack good German men. Hitler wrote about this kind of stuff.
Where do you stand on that?
They do feel threatened. That's not right. I do agree that they shouldn't have to feel like that in their own home. But at the same time, something does need to be done about the incidents that happened.
Others, though, feel unified by an opposing force, coalescing in public today against the
Like, Hitler wrote about how, like, satanic Jewish people are doing these things. I want to send you a Discord about how VE on SV is weaponized. What's VE on SV is weaponized against our society? I don't know what you mean. On sectional violence. I don't know what those were. Against minorities, and had some questions for you. What's the best way? Send it, put it in the Discord and I'll have a look.
The racist
or send it to HyperJ.
Violence they feel has shamed Northern Ireland and terrorised those they want to.
Yeah, I mean, this is all tied up in, like, we had a big one in the UK recently, and there's just, like, videos of them chasing people holding Palestine flags up, and it's just, like, yeah, it's just rather ridiculous. Like, well, it's not rather ridiculous, it's just kind of an expectation of the point that we've reached, you know, that, like, this is where we are. Because if you live in a society that's going down the shitter and the government accepts no blame for it and is unwilling to address societal problems, you know, it's, yeah, it's. Had to trim the message and it turned out to be garbage. Okay, don't worry. I wonder how depressed these people will be if they do end up deporting all the immigrants and then realise that SA is going to keep happening. Yeah, of course. I mean, sexual assault is not specific to any ethnic group, but people would rather be that it is. Because what you want to do is you want to portray... Like, look... If you look at how people speak about immigrants, and this is why I'm obsessed with Freud and, like, all the people who followed in his footsteps of psychoanalysis, if you look at right-wing politics, there's this really easy through thread to understand across the vast majority of projects, if not all of them. And what this basically is that right-wingers always need to portray an other who enjoys at their expense. This other will always transcend social boundaries, so they'll end up being people who, say, do things like they don't work, but they get houses. They, what they do is they live off welfare when, you know, good people are working incredibly hard. They sexually assault women when, you know, good British or good Irish men behave in a certain way where they, you know, basically are, where they are basically not transcending the boundaries. And by portraying someone who transcends the boundaries, what you can do by punish them is transcend the boundaries yourself. It's the same with fucking lynching as well. Like, in the case of lynching, they always focused on sexual organs, and the vast majority of lynchings took place on the basis of basically saying, hey, this person has raped a white woman and all of these things. And I think that you see it here. Like, people will always focus on immigrants as, like, responsible for societal ills so they can get their own enjoyment, you know? Kind of as simple as that, really. Oh, there was something I wanted to watch, sorry, right. But yeah, I mean, and this is going to keep happening until Britain addresses the core problems that we are facing in our society, which is not happening currently, and they are unwilling to address because the UK is going down the shitter and people would rather keep on getting rich. And that's what it is, scapegoats. But they're not just scapegoats. They're not just scapegoats. They're people who are having fun at your expense. And whilst you live a miserable life, it's nice to point at these people so you can have some of your own fun. You know? Yeah. But it's this thing of, and that's what Todd McGowan talks about in The Racist Fantasy. Like, lynchings tended to involve that. Hitler spoke about Jews in the same way. Like, genuinely, Hitler wrote this thing that's like, the Jewish boy wants to engage in sex with the good German girl and, like, constantly rape her. Like, this is just, there's a reason that all of these projects share such similarities. It's not like some big secret, you know. We can, like, work it out quite easily. How are you this evening? I'm okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm living my best life. I've got a blocked nose. What was I going to talk about? Here we go. Right, we'll talk about this. So we're on to Bob Vylan again. Bob Vylan.
So that is an end to the US.
What's your Dota main? I like Morphling a lot. I haven't played in like a month because I'm busy at the moment and I haven't been able to play as much. But yeah, probably like Morphling, AM. I play carry.
Tour.
Where are you travelling next? I might go to Sardinia.
for Bob Vylan.
Yeah, confirmation that this has reached international levels of condemnation. This is not just something that happened at Glastonbury over the weekend. This is something now which is really calling into question the careers of this duo. We know that the US Secretary Department, or the US State Department, had been assessing the situation over the past few hours, even the past few days, but that confirmation that they will no longer be able to go on tour.
I love how they're like, this is international levels of condemnation. No, this is just a world in which any solidarity with Palestine that is not expressed through basic platitudes of, oh, I would like the war to end, and oh, I think everyone deserves not to suffer, are just not allowed.
They were due to head off on the United States tour starting from the 24th of October, due to go to cities like...
Yes, I play Dota. I'm not very good at Dota anymore. I haven't played Dota in a while. I used to be like Ancient 5, I think, is the highest rank I ever reached.
Seattle, Denver, Chicago. That will no longer be happening after those visas have now been revoked. It comes after the United Talent Agency, the agency that they've been signed with, have also decided to drop them from their label. The band's page has been completely scrubbed from their website.
It's so amazing how this is spoken about like as like a positive thing, that this is international condemnation. I actually just think it's like everything. It's just astroturfed, where tweets like saying that this is awesome are promoted, and tweets that say, hey, hang on a second, this exists in a context of Israel committing genocide and oppressing Palestinians. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I mean, even this, by the way, like this is just a Mondo Vice thing. And this has just come out, and it might seem unrelated, but it's really not. 1,500 Israeli soldiers will attend Jewish summer camps this year. No, this is not normal. Like, normalizing the Israeli military is what leads to this kind of shit. This is what leads to this kind of shit, you know, like basically saying stuff like, oh, Israel's normal, the IOF is like normal, everyone serves in it, it's okay, and all of these things. It's just not acceptable or moral or just. I'm going to stand up and blow my nose because it's a major, major nose blow right now. Maybe I should show that on stream. Maybe that'll improve. If I get £1 million in donations, I'll start blowing my nose live on stream. What do you mean? How dare you say that, cyberspace cat? That they are not a marginalized group. I'm not blowing my nose. I'm not blowing my nose for on camera. It's disgusting. I know it's a cold and it's human. I remember one time I pointed out my massive sweat patches and someone was like, it's just human, and I was like, yeah, but people probably shouldn't see me sweating on stream.
Listing who they represented. It's understood discussions were had over the weekend about whether they still wanted to represent the group, and a decision was made that they did not want to do so. It's after, of course, the BBC, meanwhile, have faced fresh criticism all day from all sides, including the broadcasting watchdog.
From all sides. The broadcasting watchdog, the UK government. It's not really all sides, is it? It's just arms of the state.
Ofcom and Downing Street, among many, many more. It's after they broadcasted the band's set on Saturday at Glastonbury in full and crucially live. Ofcom, the broadcaster, has said, we are very concerned about the live stream of this performance, and the BBC clearly has questions to answer. We've been speaking to the BBC over the weekend and we are obtaining further information as a matter of urgency, including what procedures were in place to ensure compliance with its own editorial guidelines. Decisions which Downing Street also wants clarity on.
Nash and the band themselves are doubling down.
Yeah, they are. That's after not only all of this criticism, but further.
Are you surprised the band are doubling down? They should fucking double down. Don't cower away for a minute.
Criticism from the festival organisers, a festival which usually celebrates freedom of expression. The fact that you've had the organisers themselves saying that this crossed the line. Despite that, we had one of the members of the band, the drummer, taking to social media yesterday, saying things like, "I said what I said," posting a selfie and reiterating some of the lyrics.
It's like that they're saying that these people are so outrageous that Bob Vylan deserved to fucking, like, be in trouble for this. Who fucking cares? Let them say what they want about a foreign genocidal military.
And which were involved in that chant. But going back to whether this should have...
Literally, a British citizen was just killed in Gaza. Look, Sky News are having a little crying fit about Bob Vylan, and then they're posting this: British Israeli soldier killed while fighting in Gaza. The IDF soldier who served in the 601st was killed by an explosive device on Sunday, local media reported. Like, why am I... Like, this is a headline. There's a British Israeli soldier. Why on earth is he there? Why is the chief rabbi saying he was heartbroken about someone who moved to Israel, who grew up in northwest London? He's not from there. He's a British citizen who went to Israel to oppress the Palestinians. This is way more serious. He moved there 11 years ago. This is way more serious than this. More than 860 soldiers have been killed.
Been streamed on television. The former head of news.
I also love in all of these articles that they're not like, or in any of this, they're not like, they don't even bother to talk about it, to condemn it, to be like, they don't even bother to condemn it, to be like, oh, well, you know, there's a big movement online of people supporting this. It's like my friend Harry, the Champagne Socialist, his video's done pretty well on this. My video's done all right. Like, I've got, how many views has it got? It's got 500,000 views, and Harry has like 2 million, I think.
So you know how the BBC weren't going to broadcast Kneecap's Glastonbury performance because they were scared of what they were going to do? The BBC instead chose to broadcast this live. Okay, nothing we haven't heard before, but then this happened.
This is really bizarrely quiet.
Ooh, right, that was Bob Vylan, who I imagine...
Harry, you moron!
We are about to hear
Bob Vylan, Harry, come on!
a lot of discourse about in the next few days in the national media. I mean, how does the BBC come back from that? Because they were adamant they weren't going to show Kneecap's performance live because they were scared of what they were going to do. And then Bob Vylan has just gone and done...
Stop saying Bob Vylan!
Got the crowd to join him in doing it, and the BBC has broadcasted it for free. I mean, what a spectacular own goal. But this is what is ridiculous about the censorship that's been going on. Of course, artists are going to use their music and platforms as a way of speaking out against atrocities. It's happened in the past, it's happening in the present, and it will happen in the future. Doesn't matter what the cause, music provides a great medium for speaking out against injustice. And the fact that the BBC is going to all of this effort to try and silence dissenting voices and it's not working, good. And one final thing, if you are offended by what Bob Vylan was getting the crowd to chant, you better be even more offended at what the IDF are doing. Their war crime...
Yeah, like, I mean, this is a really good video. If you want to follow Harry, Harry's a great guy. Like, great guy.
The British establishment never see... So as expected, the police are looking... So if you're like me, you probably watched the night...
But, like, yeah, I mean, very good. Very good from my dear friend Harry. Good man. Does Windows put ads in the taskbar now? I have no fucking idea. I have no idea. What's Windows? No, I'm joking. I know what Windows is. I'm just not very computer savvy. Bob Vylan. I mean, indeed. But yeah, like, you just look at this and you see, like, hey, that video has 200,000 likes. Like, why is this not being mentioned? That there are also a clear group of people who feel very differently about you know what this is, and like the words that were said. There isn't this unified opinion that, you know, that this is wrong to call for the death of a genocidal military, to say, hey, this isn't acceptable. But yeah, it's hard. Sophie, I do have recommendations. They're regularly doled out. There's also a growing list which I need to work on with mediocre violists, which I'll be doing this a week. So yeah. But like, yeah, maybe I'll make a TikTok. I've got a couple to make after this. Bob Vylan's set coverage should have been pulled, BBC says. This is lower news. Like, look, this is kind of what it is. This is what is considered the most newsworthy story over that. There's people being massacred, including journalists, and yet Bob Vylan is what takes supremacy by the BBC. And if they were saying, hey, you know, I think, and obviously I'm the one talking about this too, but it's like, it's just like, yeah. It's just ridiculous to sit there and say, like, oh, you know, everyone's so upset. No, like, Harry's video is doing very well.
In current affairs at Channel 4, Dorothy Byrne has been speaking to us about the fact that they should have seen this coming. And in her words, she says it was naive for them to broadcast it.
It was predictable that something would go wrong, and they could have put the programme that he was playing in either on delay or just not streamed it live. But the moment he started to call for people to be killed, and it doesn't
The moment she called for people to be killed,
matter who he's calling for to be killed, it's wrong. They should have...
Would you say death to Hamas is wrong? Would you say death to Hamas is wrong? Because I guarantee we wouldn't be having this discussion if you had said that.
It instantly pulled the feed, which is a very easy thing to do.
So the BBC have expressed their regret, saying that that live stream performance should have been pulled once it got going on Saturday, that the performance itself was deeply offensive. And that confirmation from the US State Department now that this band's US tour will no longer be going ahead after their visas have been revoked.
It's just like you hear this and you just compare it to like what's going on in Gaza, and it's just like, isn't this ridiculous? Like, this is the world in which we live, where you have to just constantly listen to like people just saying over and over again, oh, it's okay to do genocide, but you're not allowed to listen to these things, you know? Sorry, it's not okay for people to say this kind of stuff, but it is okay to justify it and explain why genocide is okay. It is okay to wear an IDF t-shirt. If he'd worn an IDF t-shirt, the condemnation would be coming from people. It wouldn't be astroturfed by a government. But you look at the cancel culture that's going on with Bob Vylan. They've had their visas revoked and all of these things. Like, here you go. Here's the next one. Here's Sky.
Well, let's return to that breaking news that Sky News understands the rap duo Bob Vylan has been dropped by the United Talent Agency. It comes after the BBC expressed regret at not pulling the live stream of the rap duo's performance during the Glastonbury Festival.
The crowd weren't shocked. The crowd chanted because there's a sentiment in this country that is literally astroturfed away. The news operates with the literal means of preventing of preventing people having an opinion. You have to hear, no, this was bad. Everyone thinks this is bad. Like, it's literally there to cultivate an opinion, to cultivate the exact opinion of, hey, like, you know, oh, Bob Vylan is so bad. And you look at Harry's video on social media, it's got millions of views and hundreds of thousands of people who feel not this way. They feel very different about what Bob Vylan said, and they think that Bob Vylan are fucking heroes. You know? Like, and I will not sit here and just listen to this crap. Like, you know, oh, we're aware of comments made by acts on West Holt stage at Glastonbury Festival. I mentioned this yesterday. And just look at this tweet. A military force backed by nuclear weapons isn't a minority group, and the IDF should not be made synonymous with Jews. Like, this is the world in which we live. And it is good press for them, but it's also just a lot of undue, ridiculous stress.
Said anti-Semitic sentiments expressed by the group were utterly unacceptable.
Like, yeah, they said something about their boss too. And also, people have been saying it because his name is Pascal Robinson Foster. Who cares? But yeah, I genuinely think that what they said is fine. Simple as. But we just have to hear how bad they are. We have to hear about how they're calling for the death of Jewish people, that they're evil, that they're monsters. And it's just like, what is this? Like, is this really the world we live in? Is this really the world we live in? Also, look at this headline by the Times. Israel split by song calling for the death of Dua Lipa and Bella Hadid. That's like what it is when you support Israel. They're having a whole debate in the House of Commons about it. And then they're posting, and then I will post this. Like, this is what Israeli sings. Are British citizens who serve in the Israeli military singing that before they go burn down Palestinian homes? Probably. But Bob Vylan saying death to the IDF when they're not people responsible for killing it is ridiculous.
F is, and you remember.
And here's James O'Brien, the controlled pro-Palestine opposition, giving us his wonderful opinion.
Remember that the language I can
split on loving and liking it. Yeah, you're right about that, cyberspace
use on this
cat.
programme is policed by Ofcom, is a pillock of the very, very first order. And bear with me on this, because he may hold opinions that you are sympathetic to, but you can't call for the death of anybody from the stage of a public event. Why? How can people profess to be more offended by an idiot rapper shouting bilge from the stage in Somerset than they are by the continuing carnage?
I mean, like, yeah, good enough, but, like, at the same time, why are you even giving them an inch? Don't give them an inch. What is wrong with chanting this? Like, go on, give me an explanation. What is wrong with chanting death to a foreign military?
In Gaza. It's extraordinary when you stop to think about it, right? But I'm guilty as well. I think that the situation in Gaza is 17 million times worse than anything that happened at Glastonbury over the weekend. Are you familiar with the name of Nissim Vittori? I mean, if you were in Israel, you'd know. He's the Deputy Speaker of Parliament there. He's the Deputy Speaker of the Knesset and a member of Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party. He has called, without any particular pushback, as far as I've been able to establish, for every man in Gaza, every Palestinian man to be killed. That is genocide. That is a member of Benjamin Netanyahu's party in Israel calling for genocide. He's literally calling for a genocide. This isn't whataboutery. This is speaking to the double standards and hypocrisy that many people in this country find increasingly hard to comprehend. Why are we talking about a bloke no one had ever heard of?
Oh, motherfucker! I was muted. Oh, yeah, I was muted. Thanks for messaging me. You know what? Right, which one of the mods messaged me? How dare you? Hyper J, this is it. This is the end, mate. Sorry, I wasn't reading chat because I was looking for something. I do read chat. It's just like, even this fucking freeze frame. No, these aren't cluster bombs. What these are is a huge bombardment. I think it occurs by like navy, by sea, by air, and shelling all at the same time, and massive amounts of bombs being dropped. Like, it's insane. It's fucking insane, like, looking at that, you know? But here we go. I just wanted to show you this video of Netanyahu. Because if any of you watched the debate yesterday, do you remember, what's her name? That Zionist girl saying that, like, oh, This is not true. Like Netanyahu doesn't support genocide.
הטוב ברע. ראשית, מלחמה נחושה שמתנהלת בשדה הקרב, היא מתנהלת מול חיות אדם, מול מפלצות שתקפו אותנו באכזריות מחרידה לפני...
This was a few days ago. This is Netanyahu. It's being fought against human animals, against monsters who attacked us with horrifying cruelty. This statement barely received any attention, by the way.
לפני 20 חודשים, ואנחנו ננצח אותם, ונחריט אותם.
It's also like, Ethan Klein has made a career out of fucking going, dog whistle, dog whistle. Well, made a career. He just goes on about dog whistles. This is what a dog whistle looks like. He's talking about wiping Palestinians out. They will not remain. Jesus Christ. Like, that's what is that. Here's what Israel's up to today.
Stupid.
They're not saying stupid things, James. If you truly believe that Israel is doing genocide, that is not your reaction. Here's also
started off with him talking about having a Zionist boss, and at that point it should have been cut off straight away. But instead it carried on, and then as you said, started talking about death to the IDF, and then...
Also, talking about having a Zionist boss is not inappropriate. If you have a boss who is a Zionist, who unequivocally supports Israel and tries to prevent you from speaking out about Palestine, then fuck your Zionist boss. We had a Zionist in charge of the University of Exeter who was unwilling to do serious things to, change what was going on. But also, by the way, look at the reaction in the crowd. Like, people fucking throw in Bob... Is that Bob Vylan in the crowd? There are millions of people who are like, yeah, Bob Vylan did nothing wrong.
Singing the genocidal chant from the river to the sea.
Singing from the river to the sea, genocidal chant, afternoon of Jew hate.
Well, in front of thousands and thousands of people.
And it appeared that a percentage of the crowd joined in.
Yeah, that's the worst thing, isn't it? That he's kind of stirring up a lynch mob.
Yes.
And
a lynch mob for who? For the fucking IDF? Is that what the lynch mob is?
And it felt very much like that. And actually, that is potentially breaking the law because it's broadcasting hate speech, which is intended to stir up hatred. And that's certainly what it felt like for me watching it, and probably for lots of other people. And this went on for 5 hours as well. And this was in the middle of the afternoon. It was 3 o'clock. And then, of course, they were followed by Kneecap, who are in trouble. One of them has been charged with a terrorism offence for allegedly wrapping himself in the flag of a Hezbollah. So this was like an afternoon of Jew hate. And at no point was it...
Makava, yeah, everyone's going to go lynch a Makava tank. Oh, no! Oh, no! The people who are doing genocide are in trouble. Oh, no! Oh, Jesus Christ. It's just insane. It's just insane, isn't it?
Let's just
We've got another brilliant one. Executive Director of the Youth Endowment Fund.
what's happened. We've got a performance at Glastonbury. Everyone was keeping an eye on the Irish performers Kneecap. We thought they might say something very offensive, but it was actually the people on before who called for death to people serving in the Israeli army, as well as other pretty offensive comments. I think there are questions here for the BBC.
So one of the charges was dropped. I don't think all of them are dropped.
The obvious question is, why didn't they just stop the broadcast? The normal thing might be to have some sort of delay system whereby they can see what's being broadcast. It was quite obvious where the conversation was going, some of the things that this chap was saying. They should have probably pressed stop then. I am a little concerned about the Mail immediately going to the BBC should face criminal offences. I actually like living in a country where our main broadcaster broadcasts a festival where great artists say extraordinary things. And there always is a risk that someone might say something that is deeply offensive.
How is it deeply offensive? Like, this is insane.
And there's a risk. I think that risk should have been...
Yeah. When the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans were out chanting, we had a whole mediascape trying to make excuses for them and trying to explain, well, the way they chanted, it's like it's okay. No, this is just ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous.
Covered.
Doing a deep dive on this is actually hilarious. I mean, it is quite funny. I don't know if that was like sarcasm, but I do have to admit, like, going through the things people say on British media. British media is unbelievable, like, honestly.
Someone having that button ready. But I think the idea that we should take the BBC to court or send people to prison is really misplaced. The person who should be really questioned here is the person who said these offensive things, who's a chap, I'm not going to say the name of the band, I don't want to give them publicity, it's a chap called Pascal, born in Ipswich in his 30s, who thought it was a great response to the death of thousands of people by calling for more death.
Yeah, fuck the genocidal militia responsible for that death.
And it's quite possible he has broken the law. Public order law says you cannot use threatening words capable of stirring up religious hatred. And there are 30,000...
Religious hatred against the IOF, Well, I mean, you know what, actually? I guess it is religious hatred, because Yehuda Vach responded by building a 10-metre-high Star of David on ruins in Gaza. I mean, they have transformed these things into symbols of hatred, sadly. Like, this is what Israel has done with symbols like this. So you are basically saying, I mean, you're buying into Israel's shit, that they have right over these symbols, that these symbols are parts of hate. This is what it is. Just ridiculous, isn't it?
1,000 Jewish children in this country who'll be going to school tomorrow, more worried that they're going to face some sort of violence or threat or shouting because of what this idiot has done.
Jewish children are going to be scared in schools because media tells them that they should be scared in this, rather than telling them, hey, Israel's doing genocide and that poses a threat to all of you.
And I think he should be looking himself in the mirror, and the police should be looking at what he's done. The
Well, the
BBC
police
should
is
review, but
investigating right now.
I don't think it's the place to focus.
Okay, Ava?
I just urge caution with that, because I don't think we should be conflating the IDF with Judaism or the far-right government of Netanyahu with the Jewish faith. I think that's what puts children in danger.
Yeah, I mean, like, just the world, this world of just Bob Vylan and, like, the Nazis for condemning Israel, it's just insane, isn't it? Like, speak strongly about Israel, because you should. Oh, and by the way, their boss, the guy who they accused of being a Zionist, which it was apparently anti-Semitic to talk about, Bob Vylan has been dropped. So the guy, Ken, is a partner and a member of UTA's music leadership team. He oversees the booking and touring. He follows Israel on Campus Coalition, the IDF, and Stand With Us, all pro-Israel propaganda institutions. So this whole idea they were being anti-Semitic. What, so supporting Israel, is that part of the Jewish faith? Do you have to do that? Do you have to, is that right? But it just shows you cancel culture. Literally, I've shown this before, but the first ever video I made about Palestine on my TikTok, which is the first one, the first one I ever made about Palestine is literally me talking about cancel culture and how cancel culture is something that applies to people who support Palestine. It's not for right-wingers. Palestinians are denied the right to... you're denied the right to speak about Palestine. Don't use the correct language. But if you call for the death of Palestinians, you can still be a British MP, you know, you can still do whatever. You can be a supporter, an unequivocal supporter of Israel doing genocide. That is fine. But as long as you don't dare to say the wrong thing about Palestine or say the right thing, you know.
Simply means the belief in a Jewish homeland, a majority Jewish state. Zionism itself.
Listen to this.
Simply means the belief in a Jewish homeland, a majority Jewish state. That is what it means. But somehow it's become a hate word.
Zionism believes in a Jewish majority. That's exactly why it's a hate word. Because it requires removing the indigenous people who lived on the land. Like, as simple as that. Like, you know? Like, there you go. There's your answer, why it's a hate word. It's not very hard to understand, is it? But it's mad as well. Bob Vylan literally stole the show. They've got everyone talking about Palestine. And now I guess we'll have our... Probably I'll close here on this because I want to talk about some other things.
condemnation for Hamas. Are you saying that what happened on October the 7th was acceptable?
When you do this,
no, I'm asking
another people in the media do this again. It is to justify. Nothing justifies genocide against the Palestinian people. I'm here to tell you exactly what I think.
Could you just
I'm not going to stand here and condemn Hamas. I'm not going to do that.
You're not going
I'm
to
going to stand here and condemn the IDF, the occupation, and the role of Western imperialism in that entire region.
Fiona, hang on 1 second.
Fiona, hang on 1 second.
I need to condemn Keir Starmer and David Lammy and the British government and British imperialism's role in this occupation and in this genocide.
You cannot sit there and seriously say you...
Thank you, Sean. But also, yeah. Zionism, she is right. Zionism is just this thing. It has always been premised on basically establishing a Jewish majority through expelling Palestinians and settling Palestinian land. It is what they are doing in the West Bank right now. That is why Zionism is inseparable from the settler movement. People try and claim, well, the settlers, they're different, they're all these things. But the thing is that they go into the land and they're the ones who settle it.
Will not condemn Hamas, who have
I can say whatever I like.
Well, you can, but I tell you what, the British public are watching you. The British public are watching you, and if you will not condemn terrorists, people who have caused absolute chaos upon the Palestinian people, the ones that started this conflict, can you see the disdain the British public, the people of Palestine, Jewish people will have for you?
I'm happy.
People of Palestine would be happy to hear her speak. You know, this is just a fantasy version where they blame Hamas. It's a joke.
Happy to condemn terrorists. Let's start with Keir.
Condemn Hamas.
Let's start with Keir Starmer. Let's start with David Lammy.
Let's start with the people that started this war.
You could also condemn all of them for their fucking perverse relationship with countries like the UAE.
And let's talk about the IDF. Let's talk about
Who started the war on October the 7th?
I'll tell you,
Israel started it. I know there are some people who think they can debunk this, but settling other people's land is by virtue of, as a practice of what it is always going to be an aggressive position.
Began in 1948 with the forced expulsion of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians.
We can get into a historical discussion. It's not worthwhile.
You are so correct. In fact, the British...
Base Nana Aku going further back.
The British were entirely involved in setting up the Zionist state. They were entirely involved in that. So British imperialism historically is responsible for those crimes. And today it is still responsible for those crimes. And what makes you so angry, actually, is the fact that more people support people like Bob Vylan, more people in Britain.
This is the truth. They always claim that they're like for the people. But all of it's astroturfed by a media ecosystem which promotes their kind of stuff, the considerable amount of money that they have to support them, and yet still the suppressed content outranks theirs.
Actually want to see an end to the occupation. They don't support Britain sending arms to Israel.
Want,
and
that's
what enrages you.
What people want is an end to war.
Don't support Bob Vylan spouting out...
They don't support Bob Vylan.
Vile anti-Semitic. I don't want you to sit here and call the British public racist and anti-Semitic, because they do not support Bob. You just said the vast majority of people support what Bob Vylan said. You just said that. And they do not overwhelmingly.
I think you're upset about
I'm upset that there's a man who's been given a platform to spout out.
But you're not upset.
She's Fiona Lale. I think she's the head of the Revolutionary Communist Party in the UK.
About 100,000 Palestinians.
Who said that?
You're not upset about the fact that the IDF killed children.
I don't want children to die.
Don't shout at me, please.
That actually looks like it would be quite an interesting watch. I guess I could watch it, but I don't know. Also, here's the chief rabbi of the UK. Like, look, I don't want people saying or doing anti-Semitic shit, but like, let's just listen to this.
That what is right is what we subscribe to. That we are living a Torah true way of life, and we can validate our feelings through knowing that what Israel is doing is the most outstanding.
So this guy thinks this is a guy inciting support for starvation. Why don't we have a debate about why he should be in prison, you know? But that's not going to happen, is it? I just want to see if... Okay, here we go. Oh,
It should have pulled the live stream of Bob Vylan's performance during Glastonbury, which contained utterly unacceptable and anti-Semitic sentiments. Let's remind ourselves of what was said.
Free, free! Free, free! Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF!
So Ofcom are now looking into the incident, saying that the corporation clearly has questions to answer.
Let's get more with campaigns coordinator for the revolutionary communist, Fiona Lally. Fiona, thank you very much for joining us here on Britain's Newsroom. So Bob Vylan, obviously now being condemned by multiple members of Parliament, congressmen. There's, attempts in America to now stop them, have their visas revoked. They said there were anti-Semitic comments by and lots of anti-Semitism campaign groups. The irony of all of this is in 2020, Bob Vylan were supposedly giving racism the middle finger at concerts against racism.
Give racism the middle finger. It's just like ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Do you think they are just purely shameless, looking to get 15 minutes of fame?
No, I think I'm really glad that this has happened because it's giving us an opportunity to expose the IDF and say, what is the IDF? The IDF is a monstrous imperialist army that has killed over 100,000 Palestinians on behalf of Israel and is committing barbaric acts every single day. And the way that the media has reported on this has been astounding, but it actually makes people feel sick because,
she's got a point here. Of course, what Israel does is the IDF has killed... the IOF kills people so Israel can continue to settle Palestinian land and to prevent Palestinians from living a free and equal life.
It was horrific violence over the weekend, but it wasn't at Glastonbury. It was in Palestine. It was soldiers from the IDF consciously shooting Palestinians who are queuing up for aid. And they do that on purpose.
Okay, so
in fact, they are instructed to do that. They are instructed to do that.
You are aware.
It's disgusting.
You are aware that Hamas have instructed the death of Palestinians who are assisting with the aid delivery. I mean, this is a fact. You are aware of that. So that's no. I'm telling you a fact.
Well, also, by the way, this is a contentious thing, but who Hamas are talking about are collaborators. And, let's be honest, these are people who are collaborating with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation associated with what's-his-name's gang, Yasser Abu Shabab's gang. So, this whole idea that, it's just, you should just be allowed to do this is,
Hamas are doing that, and they're killing their own people, and they're urging others to kill any Palestinians who are helping with the aid delivery.
No,
are you aware
of that?
That's
not true. And when the mainstream media and people like yourself say these things, everything you do acts as justification.
So there's one incident which that opinionated girl spoke about yesterday, and there is an example of it. I think Hamas took credit for it, and they were like, "Yep, we did this because these were members of Yasser Abu Shabab's gang."
For the IDF and for Netanyahu. And so you're a bit like Keir Starmer, actually.
Can I take
Keir Starmer also does this.
I don't think the audience will agree with that. I mean, they know.
I thought you'd find that funny.
Can I just take a slightly nuanced approach?
What you do when you say these things is line up with the rest of Western imperialism, which is to say that Israel has the right to do what it is doing. Israel has the right to genocide the Palestinian people.
First of all, it's not been confirmed as a genocide. Even the International Court of Justice have not called it.
But also, by the way, this is such a ridiculous argument. The International Court of Justice case is still open.
So you may see it that way, that is your choice. But secondly, I just noticed that you've not condemned Hamas. And you keep, where was the condemnation for Hamas? Are you saying that what happened on October the 7th was not acceptable?
When you do this,
no, I'm asking
another.
So this was the part we saw, so I'll just skip through.
Let's start with David Lammy. Let's start with the people responsible for those crimes. And what makes you so angry, actually, is the fact that more people support people like Bob Vylan, more people in Britain actually want to see an end to the occupation. They don't support Britain sending arms to Israel.
What people want is an end to war. They don't support Bob Vylan spouting out vile anti-Semitism. I don't want you to sit here and call the British public racist and anti-Semitic because they do not support Bob. You just said the vast majority of people support what Bob Vylan said. You just said that. And they do not overwhelmingly.
I think you're upset
I'm upset that there's a man who's been given a platform to spout out.
But you're not upset about 100,000 Palestinians.
Who said that?
You're not upset about the fact that the IDF killed
children to die.
Also, I mean, her argument is always going to be much stronger than theirs because they're just talking fucking shit. They don't know anything about this beyond what the people above them give them on this and what they consume on content, what they consume.
Don't shout at me.
What they consume on social media.
Yes.
Can you not condemn Hamas?
I've told you.
No, but I'm asking. It's a yes or no.
Okay.
So don't do.
I've actually already answered that question.
So is there a yes or no to that?
And the other reason why you guys act like this is because you want to intimidate people from speaking out about the Palestinian movement. You want to criminalise the entire Palestinian movement. In fact, today there are activists on trial. The Filton 18, they're on trial, and the state is using counter-terrorism laws against them for the role that they have played to disrupt the Israeli war machine.
News, giving your opinion out on the airwaves.
And you're telling us what we think. You don't know.
And you think that her views should be criminalised? It's really ridiculous.
You tell us we're scared of you. Tell us we're scared. This is the ridiculous thing, isn't it? Tell us we're scared. We have you on here to give your opinion.
the Soy GB News Posh Boy and Nana Aku and and Fiona Lally.
What I'm not going to sit here and do is agree with you just
I am the Chad and you are the Soy Jack.
because you think I should.
No,
which is what
we're
all of you
definitely not
lot
gonna
aggressively
agree.
think we should all sit
We're
there
definitely
going,
not gonna
yes, I
agree.
agree with your argument. I don't agree with your
We're
argument in the slightest.
We're definitely not going to agree. But what I'm pointing out is that I think the reason that you are so shocked by what I'm saying,
We're not
and a lot of the mainstream media over the weekend were so shocked that other
This is
people
really
were chanting with Bob Vylan, is because you are so out of touch with the real mood in society. And the real mood in society...
Because they don't live in a real mood. They live in a social media total echo chamber. Like, I can see that there are bigots in the UK who hold very different beliefs to me. But I do also go to protests and see that, hey, there have been a sustained, humongous marches against the state of Israel. The content around Palestine, in spite of suppression, is doing so well. Like, you know, like, it still remains interesting to people.
Is on the side of the
problem we're having here,
and you've lost that whole debate, and I think that's
Fiona, the problem we're having
shouting
here
again.
is you continuously tell us what we think, but you don't listen to what we're thinking. So if you would just listen...
You made it clear what you think.
a bit more.
the genocide of the Palestinians
If you listen... Let me finish. Let me finish. Sorry.
Finish.
If you listen to what people have to say, then perhaps instead of telling me what I think, you might...
It's like trying to talk to that Zionist girl. It's not a conversation. Like, even the idiot that I was talking to today, he was at least more worth talking to because, you know, we could, like, you know, when we spoke, there was actually a chance to speak. That Zionist girl could only shout and make things up. I mean, he made stuff out, but at least he let me speak.
Listen to what I think. And that's, I think, this is a real problem with your argument. You don't listen. You don't listen to what people think. You have no idea.
Okay.
That wasn't as exciting as I imagined it to be. They really did. Fiona Lally really did clip the best part. I've always said I would go happily onto any of these shows and discuss this crap. But, you know, I don't think it's ever going to happen because I don't think they want me on these on these things. I just don't think they just would want me because they know how it would go. Like, I'm able to speak succinctly and clearly about about Palestine, why it's the way it is. And yet, you know, they'll just always choose to have people on who don't really understand or like represent the Palestinian cause very well. And they don't have actual Palestinians on.
Welcome what he
And finally, here's the final thing we'll watch. I
said about the death to anyone, and chance of death to anyone is not welcome in our society. But there was something particularly pernicious about chanting death to the IDF. Many colleagues will.
She had to slow it down because it's such a like good rhythm. There's such a good rhythm to the chant.
Know that in Israel there is a conscription model. Every young person is required to serve in the IDF.
Okay, well, is it even calling for the literal death of everyone in it? No, what it is calling for is the death of the concept of the IDF.
Which means that chanting death to the IDF is equivalent to calling for the death of every single Israeli Jew. That is why one of the many reasons why we take this so seriously and why it cannot be argued.
Why do you also need to add in Israeli Jew?
That this did not cross a very dangerous line.
It's mad as well. I reckon they're going to do something extra. Well, actually, you know what? I think it'll just fucking peter out. Like, what are they going to do? Tell people they can't chant at festivals? You know? Fucking insane. Right. What was I going to just talk about? Oh, no. I wanted to see this because I just saw it pop up.
This is an...
So I saw Casey Tron just post about this.
Other person who's trying to advocate for getting me deplatformed and getting banned because he thinks that I'm bullying Casey Tron by saying that I don't feel sorry for her, that she's getting sued.
He has a really funny voice. I've not watched much Ass Mold Gout, but...
from Ethan, right? Basically, right? This is the...
Yes, if you say that the IRGC is bad and you sanction it and call it a terror organization, this is an insult to Iranians. It crosses into a dangerous boundary.
So I don't know exactly where it is. And so this is Mike from PA. This is the same exact guy. He's absolutely having a breakdown. If we keep pushing, the problem will solve itself. Gentlemen, I want to let you guys know that I am going to do my best. I'm going to try as well as I can, and we're gonna take care of this problem. Okay? I don't know. I can't guarantee results, but I can guarantee effort. It might not happen immediately. It might not happen instantly. You need to make a post for this? Yes. And we're going to try to get rid of these people and get the fuck out of Twitter. Yes, exactly. So I'm thinking about, a lot of these people are accusing me of weaponizing my community. I'm thinking about proving them right. Maybe I should do that. And then...
Does he have rain noises in the background, or is it raining?
We'll see what happens. I don't know. But if you want to act like a victim and you...
I mean, also, I think that this should be considered more of a threat because his community are just people who sit inside all the time, who are probably mentally deranged like him, who, are unable to leave the house, who are living in filth with cockroaches.
You want to post stuff like this, maybe I'll make you deserve it. I'm not saying I'll do it. I'm just saying I might.
Very strange. God. Hold on, let's see if there's anything else interesting covering this weirdo. So Caseytron responded to this. I'm not sure why Twitch, really not sure why Twitch hasn't done anything at this point. About someone explicitly calling for violence and saying they will use their community to harass. If you look through my comment section, it's pretty clear they are taking his marching orders. I was doxxed yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And you look at these people. I've seen this account. It's some fucking horrible guy. And also, is this... why does he have a photo of... Is it Frank? What's his name? Frank from Blue Velvet. David Lynch would hate you, my brother. But yeah, anyway, that's enough of that. Right, I guess we're going to talk about the last... What did I say was in the title? Oh, UAE's role in Manchester City. Maybe I won't cover that today, but I'd like to. I just want to see how I'm feeling after I finish covering this, because I want to do about 2 hours, I think. I might do a bit under, because I need to get the sort of people back up to my streaming. He's been drinking his own Gatorade. Yeah, I mean, also, as I say, this is just really miserable. They're just terrorizing women, and it's funny, because Ethan Klein was, so incensed by being called a misogynist. Ethan Klein is a misogynist. Sorry, I just want to see... this is some stuff that Bob Vylan have said, if you didn't already love them. Kill the fucking Queen, burn Britannia. Winding people up is how we derive enjoyment from living in England. Dig up Maggie. I wipe my arse with the UK, then spit on the crown. Give Churchill's statue the rope and see how it floats. I've not read Perfect Victims by Mohammed El-Kurd, I would. Yeah, I mean, interesting statements there by, yeah. I'm tilted after Nandy's speech. I mean, Nandy's speech was longer and even worse, ostensibly. But, I mean, all of these people are deranged. The stuff that they say about Bob Vylan. I think the truth is that Bob Vylan did nothing wrong. Changed my mind. The UK deserved Bob Vylan. Right, so apparently a Reuters investigation found 40 distinct sites of killings and arson during 3 days of sectarian massacres following Assad loyalist insurgency. The chain of command led from the attackers directly to men serving alongside al-Shara. So this is the Syrian leader is basically involved in... If you remember a few months ago, there were some really heinous sectarian massacres in Syria that were perpetrated by... the al-Shara government against Assad loyalists, but also just families and stuff who were supporting them. And let's have a look through this. Oh, it's quite a long article. The young man's heart was sliced from his chest and placed on his body. Number 56 was... Jesus fucking Christ, that's a horrible way to open an article. I know people said this at the time. I know people said that at the time. Like, just reading this is heinous. It's absolutely heinous. On a handwritten list of 60 dead that included his cousin's neighbours and at least 6 children from the coastal village, the man who killed 25-year-old Suleiman Rashid Assad called his father from the young victim's phone and dared him to fetch the body. His chest is wide open. They cut out his heart. They put it on top of his chest, said his father, Rashid Saad. It was late afternoon on March 8th in the village of Al Rufasa. The killings of Alawites were nowhere near over. I'll prove I'm not misogynistic by adding a black man. Yeah, exactly. Oh, fuck, you heard it. Sorry, I didn't. Chair reacting to an empty article. Oh no, this is most likely 100% true. This is the kind of stuff that was going on. The slaughter of Suleiman Rashid Saad was part of a wave of killing by Sunni fighters in an Alawite communities along Syria's Mediterranean coast from March 7th to 9th. The violence came in response to a day-old rebellion organised by former officers loyal to ousted President Bashar al-Assad that left 200 security forces dead, according to the government. A Reuters investigation has pieced together how massacres unfolded, identifying a chain of command leading from the attackers directly to men who serve alongside Syria's new leaders in Damascus. Reuters found nearly 1,500 Alawites were killed and dozens were missing. The investigation revealed 40 distinct sites of revenge killing, rampages and looting against the religious minorities long associated with the fallen Assad government. I'm disgusted, unsubscribed. I think it's probably best that you unsubscribe. Yeah, my chair does spin. My look, if I just stand up, it'll spin until it hits me. So they tried a mutiny, indeed, but they killed a considerable amount of, like, innocent people, like, just people who weren't actually involved in this as well. The days of killings exposed deep polarization that its new government has yet to overcome. This is also a problem, by the way, for the Shara government. Al-Shara doesn't really have control over all of Syria, and, like, what's he going to do? Just more massacres like this? I mean, they eased the sanctions on him, so don't believe that, like, barbarism is the reason for sanctions. You can do barbarism as long as you do it in the support of the American government, basically. Collateral damage maxed out. Many in Syria resent the Alawites, who enjoyed disproportionate influence inside the military and government during Assad's 2-decade rule. The Reuters findings come as Trump administration is gradually lifting sanctions on the Syria that date back to Assad's rule. The rapprochement is an awkward one for Washington. Syria's new government is led by a now disavowed Islamist faction, formerly known as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, which was previously Al-Qaeda's Syria branch, known as Al-Nusra Front. Well, you know, I think that they're kind of, that's not really that surprising. That's not really that surprising. The US doesn't have a problem with Al-Qaeda as long as it sings and dances the correct tune that it wants, really. At least a dozen factions now under the new government's command, including foreigners, took part in the March killings, Reuters found. Nearly half of them have been under international sanctions for years of human rights abuse, including kidnapping, killings and sexual assaults. Syria's government, including the Defense Ministry and President's Office, did not respond. The bullets were raining down on us, sister. We didn't know where to go. A woman who escaped and lost her families and brothers. I've taken stuff. Don't worry, I'm fine. In an interview with Reuters just days after the killing, al-Shara denounced the violence as a threat to his mission to unite the country. We fought to defend the oppressed, and we don't have to, and we won't accept any blood to be shed unjustly. All goes without punishment or accountability, even among those closest to us. Among the units, Reuters found to be involved were the government's General Security Service, its main law enforcement body back in the days when the HTS ran Idlib, and now part of the Interior Ministry, and ex-HTS units like the elite Unit 400 Fighting Force and the Othman Brigade. Also involved were Sunni militias soldiers that had just joined the government's ranks, so including the Suleiman Shah Brigade and Hamza Division, which were both sanctioned by the EU for their role in the deaths. The EU has not sanctioned the ex-HTS units. The US hasn't issued any sanctions. So yeah, I'm always taking stuff. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, Al-Qaeda is increasingly on the American side. You know, Al-Qaeda was a useful auxiliary in Iraq until it wasn't. But yeah, President al-Shara has ordered a committee to investigate it. The spokesman of the committee said the president will receive its findings in 2 weeks, as the committee is currently analysing information, then writing its final report and information gathered from over 1,000 people, in addition to briefings from officials and interrogations of detainees. He advised Reuters against publishing its findings before the report's release. We were unable to provide the responses before completing the process in a respectful for the integrity of the truth, he said, adding, I expect that you will find the results useful and that they uncover the truth. Killings continue to this day, Reuters has found. Syria's new government has said it feared losing control of the coast to the uprising of Assad supporters. It issued unequivocal orders to crush an attempted coup of Fulol, or remnants of the regime, according to 6 fighters and commanders and 3 government officials, and many who received the command had been wearing government uniforms just a few months and shared an interpretation of Sunni Islam for its brutality, notorious for its brutality. It's just kind of like you're basically letting your security force is made up of ex-ISIS and Al-Qaeda people. You're going to probably run into some problems. Although when they ruled over Idlib, their prison system was not insanely brutal for what it could have been, especially in comparison to what the Syrian government was up to. The Syrian government did have a very, very brutal security service and a prison system that did kill a lot of people. But yeah, it's once you start to rule over a bigger place, there are a lot of questions that remain now, you know? As to whether they are doing it. Like the stream, everyone. Indeed, like the stream. Some of that day eagerly interpreted the word Fulol to mean any and all Alawites, a minority of 2 million people who many in Syria blame for the crimes of the Assad family, who are Alawite. One official in the new government of Ahmed al-Shara, the governor of the Tartus province, told Reuters that Alawites are not being targeted. He acknowledged the violations against Alawite civilians and estimated around 350 people died in Tartus, in line with what Reuters also found. That figure has never been published by the government. The Alawite sect is not on any list, black, red or green. It's not criminalized and it's not targeted for retaliation. The Alawites faced injustice just like the rest of the Syrian people in general under Assad, the governor said. The sect needs safety. It's our duty as a government, which we will work on. Oh, see you later, Terratrove. I'll be back live tomorrow. How long is this? God, this is a very long article. Bloody hell. Wait, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. Fuck. God, I probably shouldn't have chosen to end with this. It's... God. Anwar the spokesman of the EU, noted that the EU had condemned horrific crimes committed by civilians, against civilians by all sides, but did not say why former HTS units were not sanctioned. So, I mean, here's the answer. It's kind of the case of, like, they're willing to dance the American tune. That's the truth. Sanctions are reserved for people who don't dance the American tune, hence why Iran is sanctioned. But in the case of these people, they're not going to be sanctioned at all. They're just not going to be. They're just not. I didn't know the US had one just up from Assad, but I mean, the US did awful, awful things at Guantanamo. All the things that, you know, Assad did, the US did all of them, you know. The US did all of them. The US did heinous stuff at, under their Guantanamo. Hundreds of thousands of Syrians are estimated to have been killed. But Sunnis, who fielded the most viable of these armed groups in a raid against Assad, were disproportionately targeted. Reuters spoke with 200 families of victims during visits to massacre sites and by phone, 40 security officials, fighters and commanders, and government-appointed investigators and mediators. Reuters also reviewed from a Telegram chat established by a defense ministry official to coordinate the government response to the pro-Assad uprising. The news agency's journalists examined dozens of videos, obtained CCTV footage, and reviewed handwritten lists of victims' names. Some of the attackers responding to the March uprising carried lists of names of men to target, including former members of Assad militias who had been temporarily amnestied by the new government. Guys, I'm actually going to make a decision here. I'm going to finish this article and read it off tomorrow, and we're going to go through it. I won't just leave it off, but I am going to go now. My throat is hurting, and I'm not going to go live on TikTok. I'm going to be live here at about 5 p.m. tomorrow. I will post an update. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for supporting. I hope you all have a good rest of the day. I'm sorry I'm ending it here. It's just I'm still not feeling my greatest, and I think streaming since 4 p.m. did a bit more than I thought it would. Like, I was live on TikTok from 4 until 5:20ish, and then here from like 5:30. I am just very, very, very knackered now, so I'll be back to it. Thank you all for your support and joining up and everything, but yeah, it's just, I'm just looking at how long this article is. 30%, so that's a third of the way, and that's already taken me about 10-15 minutes, so it's probably another 30, and I just don't think I have 30 minutes left in me. So thank you all for coming. Have a good rest of the day.